it's not too much pepper, not too much pepper.
All right, we're going to go ahead and bring the Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018 Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting into session. If you would, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item will be the consent agenda.
First item is the work session minutes from March 20th, 2018 on the full discussion. We have the regular and executive session minutes from March 20th, 2018, and the work session minutes from March 27th, 2018 on property maintenance code.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, second by Alderman Deloy. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Costello,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next will be the introduction of new employees.
We currently have a new employee, Benjamin Z, and he comes to join us at our Public Works Department. Welcome. And then we also have Cosme Garcia, and he is helping us with our Grounds and Maintenance Department.
Great. Welcome.
It's good to have you guys here. Thank you. All right, next is hearing from the public. We ask if you have anything that you'd like to speak about. You come to the podium, state your name, and we'll give you 5 minutes to speak. Not see anybody, we'll move on. Next will be the Board of Aldermen comments.
Mayor, I actually have two things, I'll be brief, I'd like to touch on. One is the newsletter. The city has done a quarterly newsletter now for several years. I was extremely impressed with the most recent spring-summer newsletter. I think we touched on this a little bit before, but I was really pleased with the retail economic development impact that was written by one of our employees explaining how important retail sales tax is to our community. And in the last few months, I've spent a little time visiting some of the realtors' offices in our community, and a couple of them actually asked about these, and I wonder if it wouldn't make a good gesture if in printing these in the future we budgeted maybe an extra 100 of these and put them in the real estate offices and any of the offices in town. We have the chamber that now has the license bureau. I think it would make sense. A lot of good information just on a day-to-day basis, but I think it's also a really good opportunity to put articles like this in the future. So I would just ask the board to consider that as we go into the budget process, and perhaps do some research if we could, our staff, to see what the additional cost might be.
How much are they each?
They run 63 cents.
A piece?
Yeah, we order, of course, we order 3,300 at a time, so.
I really actually got one at home, and Scott got one, and I've actually given ours up to a couple of the real estate offices that asked for them, so I think it's a good opportunity to put.
Would it make sense to do a rerun or a partial rerun if we need, do we want to get them out? I mean, you're going to top on another 3-4 months before we have the next one over the spring when people are coming to the community, looking at homes, and that might be something that'd be real nice to do. I think it'd be worth the expense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the other thing kind of also is in a similar vein, while I was discussing promoting Warrenton with one of the real estate offices, there was a young lady that worked for him that lives in a neighboring community. She moved there recently, and she said that each and every new resident in her community gets a gift bag. And I said, well, who provides that? And she said she thought the chamber. Well, I've got a chamber board meeting tomorrow, and I'm going to see if they would be interested in doing that. And again, just something, you got a new resident, you can give them some phone numbers. I think the chamber actually puts together a book with a whole lot of information that
Used to, I don't know. if
probably
they do
just
anymore.
not going out, so.
It used to, I don't know if it's, but you're right, I think, I know that was one of the things when they got a new executive director at Union Chamber of Commerce. That was one of the first things she did was, I think, establish a gift packet for,
Right.
so it would be something worthwhile to bring up with the chamber. I thought.
Just a welcome to the community.
Yeah.
And I think it probably makes a lot of sense because we forget sometimes that Warrenton is the county seat, and people absolutely do get confused between the governments of the city, the county, the city PD, and the county sheriff's department. So I think the more information we can arm them with, the earlier, probably the better off we'd be. So I will take that up with them, and I thank you for the time.
Let us know, please, next meeting.
Okay.
All right, anything else? All right, we'll move on then. We'll move on to the next agenda and hear from representative from Agape, Michelle. You want to come up?
Good evening.
How
My
you
name
doing?
is Michelle Bernth. I'm the Executive Director of Agape. I have come before you many times before, but I appreciate the opportunity to do so again tonight. I am here for two separate things, if it's okay to just sort of address them one by one. Does that
By all
work?
means.
All right. So the first is the request for renewal of the service contract with Agape that we have had with the city for many, many years. For the past 2 years, that service contract has been in the amount of $20,000, and that's the same amount that we request this year. I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I do want to share with you guys just a few updates in terms of service numbers and that sort of thing about what we've been doing for the past year. We serve approximately 1,300 people each month out of our Warren County Food Pantry. If you'll remember, a couple of years ago, we did consolidate 2 locations into one, so we serve the entire county out of our location here in Warrenton now. During this service period, we've added 393 new families to our roster, so 393 families, new families who receive food and services from us within this year. We do spend about $95 per person, so we are able to obviously make good use of the money that we receive. Our money can go farther than an individual's money, so that's about the amount that we spend per person. And we do serve 1,270 residents of Warrenton proper. So those are kind of some update numbers from this past year from the service contract. So as I said, we would request a renewal of that contract in that amount. I'm happy to pause there if there are any questions or comments about that piece.
I would just like to say, as someone who is in and out of the facility volunteering, that the changes that Michelle implemented when she came in making it more of a shopping experience for her customers is, I think, a huge improvement.
Thank you.
They're not just getting a box and somebody thought, well, this is what they might need and throwing it in the box and saying good luck. They're actually walking them through, similar to a small grocery store. But I've seen really a significant improvement in that area, so I think it's going well.
I have a question. How do you receive requests for your services? Is it just people walk in, or how do you get referrals on people?
Sure.
To
So
get your
it's
service?
sort of all of the things you can think of. So it's people who just walk in through the door. It's referrals from other agencies in town, whether that's NECAC, the Health Department, Turning Point, agencies like that, the Career Center, from the local churches as well. Agape was actually founded originally by a group of churches who wanted a central point for people to come rather than going door to door to door looking for help. And so all of the churches agreed to refer people to us as well. And then we're also listed on the St. Louis Area Food Bank's website, which is searchable by location because we are a member there, as well as Operation Food Search and the United Way's 211 service.
How do you determine what their needs are?
Sure.
Do you interview them?
So we have an application that a first-time client will fill out an application for us. We ask for proof of residence because we are bound to this county. They bring in their pay stubs, through the application, they provide us all of that information. And then we have a conversation with them to determine if they need just food, if they have other needs, and whether those needs fit within our services or if we should refer them to other agencies where appropriate.
And you have people on staff that do that for you?
We do. We have a program manager. I'm also joined today by Randa Taylor, who's our Director of Finance and Operations. But we have a program manager who does that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? You want to cover the second one?
Is that the way to do it? Okay, so the second item is that we are in the process of applying for our next cycle of NAP tax credits, the Neighborhood Assistance Program through the state of Missouri. We apply in 2-year cycles, so we did this 2 years ago. This body was kind enough to provide a letter of support, which is what we are requesting again today. So we will be applying for those tax credits again. That application is due mid-April, and if we receive funding, that funding will begin July 1st. The funding is for our SAFE program, which stands for Shelter Assistance for Families in Emergencies. So this is our homelessness program. It is broken down into 3 components. There's financial assistance for families who are at high risk of becoming homeless. There's emergency shelter for people who are actually out on the street. And then there's our rapid rehousing program, where we try to move families into permanent supportive housing as quickly as possible. So that is the same program that we requested funding for and were awarded funding for 2 years ago. We are hoping to continue that program with funding from this cycle. So just quickly, sort of what we've done with that money. So this was a brand new program for us 2 years ago. So we were sort of saying this was the need that we identified. We came up with this approach based on evidence-based programming in other communities. We're happy to say that it's been really successful for us. We've helped over 150 families with financial assistance. So that's helping families stay in their home that they're already in and not become homeless. We've helped 130 people with emergency shelter. We partner with America's Best Value Inn to be able to provide that emergency short-term shelter. And then we've helped 31 families move into permanent supportive housing. And we're happy to say that at the end, for those families who have reached the end of their cycle, which is not all of those 31, but all of those families have been able to stay in their home. So the program is working. It is helping families move from homelessness back into housing. So as I said, we are applying for that, and that is due in April. We are requesting a letter of support from the city, which requires your signature, Mr. Mayor, as well as there is just a statement that needs to be signed that says that this does not conflict with any of the city's plans.
Any questions?
Could you talk to us a little bit about where you see homelessness going in the county? We hear a lot of that.
Sure. So we're seeing the rates continue to rise. And again, sort of, I talked about this anecdotally the last time I was here, but it remains true. Almost any day that you're in our office, you will see somebody come through the front door saying that they're out on the street. A lot of times, those people have children with them. They've maybe been staying with family or friends. They've maybe exhausted all of those avenues that they have available to them. And so they're saying this is it, they don't know where else to turn. So we continue to see that go up, and we're trying to meet that need as much as possible.
So how do you do in selling your tax credits?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we've done really well. We haven't had trouble selling them in the past. So for those of you who were here 2 years ago, we actually increased the amount that we applied for substantially in this last cycle. But again, we were able to sell those without difficulty. Randa gets most of the credit for that, so she does a great job with it.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are familiar with the tax credit type program. I mean, Goffey's really fortunate in that they get 70% credits,
Yes.
which basically means if you give a donation through the tax credit program of $100, you're going to get $70 back on your Missouri income tax. So they're a tremendous tool as an incentive to give, and it's good to know that you're able to sell those.
We continue to have people call, we've long since had them sold, and we continue to field calls from people interested in purchasing them. So we keep them on a nice little list.
I can't recall which governor was in office at the time that was first applied for, and the concept that Marvin Marks was involved in it. So that tells you how, those of you that knew Marvin, that goes back probably 20-some years. Could have gone all the way back to Corning, I'm not sure. But it was, he was instrumental in getting that concept started. I'm not sure it was with Agape, but it was on another project.
Yeah, well, the organization I work for, we also have tax credits. We only have 50% tax
Right.
credits, so they're not as desirable as 70% tax credits. But we've been using them also for a long period of time to work with issues that we deal with.
They're a very useful tool.
Any other questions?
Not a question, I just want to make a comment, and maybe this is more for the benefit of the residents. I remember when we were, a little over a year ago, we were talking when Jordan's Place approached us for funds and everything, and Alderman Miller brought up that, you know, the job of the city really with the taxpayers' money is to provide water, sewer, streets, police protection, et cetera, like that and everything. And I got to, after he said that, and we went ahead and approved the Jordan's Place thing, which I think now we see maybe didn't work out as well as we had hoped. But I think as a board, we need, and we got budget coming up. And so what I think the board is honestly trying, I think, through as well as it can to provide, you know, these funds. And I know we're adding expenses all the time. We're adding new positions in the city support staff, et cetera, et cetera. But we still, I think, need to take a hard look at these programs, and if we've got room to work with them, we need to. I think it's getting to where you see the federal government is cutting some of their funds. The state is cutting a lot of their funds on these things, and we see these situations firsthand right here in our community. So just to let the residents know that we're not up here trying to just dole out money to, you know, everybody that comes before us. We take a hard look at this. We look at our budget, and we take a hard look at the Agape is probably the prime example. We look at their performance, and so I just want to, you know, mention that for the sake of the residents. I think that they need to hear that we're not. I know there's times we think, yeah, maybe we should back off on some of this, but it seems like when we look at it, if we can find it in the budget to do it, I think we need to continue.
Well, let me comment to that too. You know, I think a lot of communities, especially as they grow, the percentage of dollars that go toward social services, you know, we typically think of police, we think of water, sewer, we think of all those things, but as the community starts to grow, issues of homelessness come up, and there's all sorts of social issues that come up. And if you look at a lot of the towns that are getting more metropolitan, they have a significant portion of their revenue that go to these type of programs. And I think it's because they see in the community, if they don't address those needs, there's additional problems. There's additional problems for the police. If you have a homeless person out and they're hanging around the walk bridge, that requires an officer to go out. So I think I'm not as concerned about us using social dollars. I think we should use more social dollars to address these issues, quite frankly, because a lot of times they're involved with children in the community. We can always, well, we can support, swimming pools and soccer and baseball, but there's also kids who are a part of this homelessness and who have hunger and security, and I think we need to have an expanded role in this area, not a smaller role. That's just my opinion.
One thing I would like to comment on, all I think is, Mike said we need to look at each request individually and do some background checks on their performance, that sort of thing. Agape, without question, in my opinion, is the premier organization in our community that addresses these issues that you just talked about. I happened to go to a church out on the service road, and I know we partner with Agape on the back to school part of providing school supplies for youngsters going back to school, and it is phenomenally successful. So I know a little of the history that we have in working with Agape, and they do an outstanding job, and I have no problem with.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. I'll entertain a motion to renew the service contract for Agape for 2018-2019.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Miller. Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Costello?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve the mayor to sign the letter of support for the State of Missouri NAP tax credit application and attachment for Agape.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Costello, seconded by Alderman Shell Harvey. Roll call vote.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Costello?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we'll hear from Director of Operations and Finance Officer Terry Thorne.
The only thing I have for you this evening is to let you know that Truesdale has voted to accept the IDA Park sign. So as soon as the mayor signs the deed this evening and Melody gets it recorded, then we will no longer have any investment in property with the IDA Park sign for the future.
Good job.
Excellent.
That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Assistant Director of Operations, Brandy Walters.
Good evening. The first thing I have is the monthly marketing business support report. On there, pretty much we did a ribbon cutting last month at Legacy Pharmacy. I think a couple of you had went to that. And we have a few Main Street real estate, extreme services and parts, and 2 Girls Artisan and Gift Market. Those folks are getting ready to either open or they already have, and they will be having ribbon cuttings hopefully very soon.
Any questions on that report? All right.
Okay, the next thing I have is the monthly admin report. And as a few of you know, I've been doing a lot of interviewing. We've been doing some hiring this past month and these past couple weeks. Unfortunately, we do have a couple officers that are out. We had another accident in March where an officer was while resisting arrest and he got hurt. So we're 2 guys down right now. And then we did not have any tournaments last month. One of them was scheduled, but it got rained out. And hopefully we have 3 scheduled in April that'll hopefully continue. Those will hopefully go. As you guys know, the newsletters have gone out. So that's all for that report.
Any questions on that? Thank you.
We do have the Easter egg hunt was rescheduled for this Saturday. Starts at 11 o'clock, and then we have citywide cleanup coming up April 21st from 7 to noon. The next thing I have for you is the pool management contract. So this is for the 2018 contract to renew that. Their base salary is $72,830, and their management fee is $22,375, which makes the contract total $95,205. It has a slight increase due to minimum wage increase for this year. Otherwise, they did not change anything.
Questions on that?
So this runs through September 3rd.
Correct.
Are we gonna bid out, how are we gonna handle the switch over to the new complex that's gonna be running, all year long? Is that gonna be another bid process, or how are we gonna handle that?
We don't anticipate a bid process. We've tried bidding over the last few years. There's really not a lot of competition in this market. Midwest Pool is helping us with putting together our equipment list and operating costs and those sorts of things for the new pool. So we will ask them to provide us with a proposal for the management of that pool as we get closer, and then bring that to you for consideration.
Do we have an anticipated opening date on that yet, or is it just gonna be sometime in the fall?
We're looking probably at mid to late September.
Okay, so there'll be a little gap there.
Yes, there'll be a gap probably between this one closing and the new one opening.
Great.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the pool management agreement for 2018 in the amount of $95,205.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Deloy. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Costello.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Next, we'll hear from Finance Manager Gabrielle Curry.
Good evening.
Evening.
The first item I have is the accounts payable for the month in the amount of $1,737,068.77. We've got a couple of contracted projects on here that is driving that cost up.
Notice Demeen Construction will be happy to get your mail this month.
Yes.
Any questions on the account payable? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $1,737,068.77.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Shell Harvey, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Alderman Costello.
Abstain.
Yep.
Oh, she says I can vote, yes.
Pay attention.
So the public understands this. A company that I own majority interest in does business with the city, so I do not vote on those billings when they come up through the accounts payable, so
But you're okay this time.
I'm okay with this stuff.
Alderman Shell Harvey.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, the next item I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was first one.
I think that was that the first one?
Pay attention, boy.
You went backwards.
Alderman Schultz, confusing us all. He'll get fined later.
I think I probably won't stay long. I'm going to get a raise, right?
Okay, the next item I have is the financial report for February. Sales tax is under the year-to-date budget by $7,500. The other thing I wanted to mention is the gas and electric franchise revenues. We were receiving those quarterly, but we are starting to receive those monthly, effective in February. So that's the other big change.
Any questions on that? All right. Is that all?
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's come to that point where we are going to entertain a motion for adjournment of the regular Board of Aldermen meeting and go into executive session for personnel and real estate.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Alderman Shell Harvey, seconded by Alderman Costello. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey.
Yes.
Alderman Costello.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0, and we are so adjourned. Thank you for coming.